everybody. Welcome back to Movie and a Haunt, episode 36, the one where they vomit. I'm RJ.
And I'm Paige. It only took 36 episodes to get to this point.
And today we are watching Evil Dead, in parentheses, 2013.
Yeah, don't get it confused with the original.
This movie, I've only ever seen like 40 seconds. It created a core memory. It is disgusting.
Great. So can we compare it, do you think, to like Saw, as in disgusting?
No, because I watch all the Saws, and I don't scream with Saw, really.
Yeah.
This movie, I know the 40 seconds I saw, and I couldn't watch like 30 of them.
Ah.
Like, I had to look away the entire time.
Great. Why are we watching
It's
this again?
Because we were on an Evil Dead Rise kick, and we were like, let's do Evil Dead. And I was like, cool, let's do the gross one, because we've been needing this for a while.
Have we?
And it's also a good movie. Like, it's a fun thing of like, I would consider this along with kind of like the Texas Chainsaw remake, where it's not a remake, it's more of a retelling.
Okay.
And certain things change along the way because of that retelling.
I think I'd rather that than a remake, like you know what I mean? I think I would rather just a sort of retelling with the director and writer's different input in the franchise.
I do remember that this movie was supposed to kind of be like an Elseworld.
Okay.
And then they were going to combine the universes, and then they were kind of going to bring the main character of this movie and Ash were going to become a team.
So what happened?
It just got stuck in dev hell. It just, no good idea came out of it. And this movie came out a little bit before Ash versus the Evil Dead, so then a lot of the focus went to Ash versus the Evil Dead.
I'm guessing that's probably why they didn't do a movie, because they were like, you know what, let's just put it on TV. Let's just put this on TV. And they went with...
And then we got Evil Dead Rise, which was New Line Cinema.
Okay.
Who supposedly just got the rights for a Nightmare reboot.
We'll see what happens with this writer's strike.
I mean, you bring back you bring back Nancy, I'll be there. I'll be there for Nancy. I won't be there for anybody else, but if you can bring back Heather, bring back Nancy, we're in.
So we're not watching the trailer this time because RJ said that it's spoilery?
Well, it spoils some of the gross shit, and I want that to be visceral.
Great.
This is, I will say this. It is not, at least in my opinion, I've never seen Cabin Fever, but it should not be as bad as Cabin Fever.
Okay, then I should be fine.
This will be that movie that when someone brings it up, you may let out a scream because you'll picture something and it'll freak you out. But, you'll try to repress it. You won't do a great job at repressing it, quite frankly. But you can continue life. I know with Cabin Fever, I don't think I would be able to continue living my life correctly if I seen that movie.
That's a good horror movie then, in my opinion. If it's memorable enough to do something like that and you'll remember it 20 years from now and you'd be like, oh yeah, that one scene. To me, that makes it at least decent.
I mean, I saw it, it's 2023. That came out 2013, so 10 years ago. And I still can remember those 40 seconds. It didn't burrow its way into my mind. It branded itself into my mind. And I don't think that's the grossest scene, too, which is the worst part.
I cannot wait. So, you want to get into it?
So, here's how it's going to work today. Paige and I are going to watch this movie. We're then going to probably take a 20-minute break to process what the fuck we just watched. Have a nice little come down. We're probably going to be sweaty.
Oh, God.
And then we'll be back. We're still going to be traumatized in some way, shape, or form. But we'll try to go through the movie at that point.
We'll give it our best shot. All right, let's go.
Let's go. All right. We watched it. There was a lot of screaming, a lot of squealing, a lot of, oh God, make it stop.
A lot of, I hate this.
It's weird because I was like, when I left the movie, I was like, oh, it wasn't that bad. And then I thought about it for like 5 minutes. I'm like, there was a lot of stuff. It just wasn't back to back to back. So maybe that's why I thought it was better.
Yeah. It was something else. It was definitely gory to be gory. But then when you're in the Evil Dead franchise, you know what you're getting yourself into. That it comes with the IP. So
This movie is easily probably the grossest movie we've watched.
yes.
We've never screamed as much.
Yes, I agree.
I would say this movie had the most collective screaming, because usually you and I are a little bit different about what makes us squeamish. This one was like, we got a tongue. We're like, great, that's the worst.
Like I actually still feel like I got like the heebie-jeebies still. Like I can feel it in my back. and we watched it.
The reason why I'm standing up right now recording this is because when I got up, my shirt unstuck from my back because of how fucking sweaty I got there in the movie. It was, I would say the moments that were like cool were cool, but the moments that were gross were fucking gross.
Yeah.
And we watched the normal version of this movie, not the unrated version. If I know
I don't
I've
need
seen
it.
the unrated version of this movie.
I don't need it. A lot of the times with horror movies and they say uncut version, especially when I was younger, I was like, oh yeah, let me get that one because, you know, that's probably the true one they wanted to show. I don't need that for this one.
No,
I'm good.
They're like extra 2 minutes, and I'm like, I know where those 2 minutes went, and I can't do it.
Yeah, I'm good. I have a feeling it has to do with the vines.
With the fucking tongue?
Or the tongue, either or. I hate all of it, and I don't want a part of it at all. So
Let's go through this movie.
yeah, let's start from the top.
Start from the top. We start from the top, and we had technical difficulties, so we had to spend like 15 minutes troubleshooting it. And then eventually I got my own copy, she got her own copy, and then we just watched it separately while on a recording with each other. And I will say the beginning of the movie is kind of unnecessary in the grand scheme of things.
I would say yes, because it was so slow, and I feel like we had 30 minutes too much of the film, and I think those 30 minutes would have been cut in the beginning.
Yeah. The best way I can put it was like, I think it's harder. We're harder on this because the cold open to Evil Dead Rise was so good. And this one's so mid.
Yeah. And
then especially like 5 minutes later where they do a flashback, you're like, why the fuck did you just do a flashback? We just watched this.
I literally just forgot that that's what we were talking about. I was thinking about everyone coming to the cabin and doing their whole spiel and why they're there. No, it's the previous family.
Yeah, it's the cold open.
Yeah.
Like, genuinely, the cold open.
Yeah, I completely forgot about it. Holy crap. Yeah, daughter seems super normal. They capture her in the woods. They bring her downstairs and to the basement and tie her up. Her dad pours gasoline on her. She's acting normal. And then she starts to turn into a deadite. That's pretty much it.
Yeah. That's how it is. I mean, it's a fun little twist.
It is.
If you don't know what Evil Dead is, that's a cool twist.
That is true. I didn't even think of it that way. Yeah. And I do want to say off the bat here, the three things that I think, I mean, maybe four. I would say four. The three things I'll go with here are the cinematography, the lighting, and the makeup are key to one Evil Dead, two, especially this one. It right off the bat when we see the burning, the steak burning, gorgeous. I think the makeup on her was really good. It was very believable. The fire looked really good. At that point, I was kind of like, did they get a stunt person and put them on fire for a little bit? It looked that way. I don't know.
And then I feel like those looked cool, but any time this movie had to do some sort of VFX blood, it just really took you out of it, especially with Jessica.
It was most prevalent with her because they had to do the CGI of removal of her arms. Spoiler alert. I hope you've watched the movie and then you're listening to this. Don't be like that. So, yeah, when they removed her arms and they had to do the fake blood, it did look like crap.
I also think it's worse because a few seconds prior, you literally had a practical effect blood explosion cut. Like, that was what cut the camera.
Yeah, it was great.
Either way, we get a really unnecessary cold open that gets called back 5 minutes later. But, ew, his name's David Allen? Gross.
Oh, I didn't know his last name.
That's gross.
If you ever watch Schitt's Creek, or like the family from Schitt's Creek, and they go, "Ew, David!" Like that's the entire time. Whenever his name was said, that's all I could think of.
I feel as though the entire movie of us like watching it was like, he's a fucking idiot.
Yeah.
You can't be that stupid. Oh my god, he's so fucking stupid.
I mentioned this while we were watching it. We've watched a lot of horror movies in our time, not just with the podcast, but like in life. He has to be the stupidest main character that I have ever come across in horror.
It is. It came to like the point at the end of the movie where we were just like, okay, and this is where he dies. This is where he dies. He has to die. He's too fucking stupid.
Yeah.
And then like, I hate that he goes out in such a luck way. I'm like, oh dude, no, he's too fucking stupid to go out like that.
He shouldn't get a hero's end like that, but whatever. So the whole crew meets up at the cabin. That's
we are split into two groups.
Yeah.
We have like the immediate friends, and then the brother who's estranged, and then the groups don't get along
with his girlfriend.
Well, yeah.
No one has any beef with Jessica, whose character is named Natalie, but we thought it was Jessica the entire time.
Like, listen, I guess the best way we can put it is you said it perfectly in the episode. Her name's Jessica.
Yeah. So anytime we say Jessica, we mean Natalie. There we go.
Yeah. Which is even funnier because the character that gets her fucking I think the character who goes evil in the first movie, in Evil Dead Rise, that was Jessica at the beginning.
Oh, yes.
That was cold open. The return of Jessica. Either way, we're here, and you go, why the fuck are we out here? This place is not a vacation.
Mm-mm.
And we are here for a sobriety pact. For one person.
Yes, for the sister named Maah. She's one of our main characters here. She has a drug addiction, and this is going to be, at least as we know it, her second time trying to do a sobriety stint here.
Yeah. They all come in. Olivia's like, we tried this last year, and she bounced after like 8 hours. So she can't leave. That's the rule. Like, she's not allowed to leave. And I get where Olivia's coming from.
True.
But also, I have to say it, how the fuck is it the chick that's going through a withdrawal smells the dead bodies in the house in 10 minutes?
My theory is, because they talk about it, I think either right before or right after she starts to mention the dead smell, is that she died legally, and then they brought her back with a defibrillator. I think with her connection to death was that veil kind of lifted for her. So she was able to be more aware of what was going on in that house.
I like how it literally cuts to her like screaming about something fucking stinks.
Yeah, and everyone in the group thinks it's because she's starting to lose her cool because she's going through withdrawals, and I get it. I get both sides, but unfortunately for them, Mia's right. There's something going on in the basement.
And they go down, and we're like, how? Even she put it best. She's like, you guys are fucking stupid. This shit stinks.
It's a stanky place.
And the dog's like, you know what? You're right. Oh, Grandpa. The dog, Grandpa.
Yes, the dog's name is Grandpa. Okay. If you haven't watched the movie and you're listening to this, I want to let you know there is an animal death besides the dead
But not
cats.
on screen.
Not on screen, but it's still not great. So if you're not cool with that, don't watch this.
I love how you were like, oh, a cat. Like, your cat came in. And right as you walk away, it's a close-up on, like, a fucking skeleton cat. And I'm like,
I know.
Oh, thank God she walked away.
I know. I was like, hey, Jasmine. Oh, look at that. Don't look at the screen. It's your dead brethren.
I was like, Jesus, so many kitties. There's just all the cats around them. Either way, let's just jump to where we get interested.
Good, please.
Okay. We have Eric. Eric lived way too long. Eric should have died first.
Bro.
Eric fucking sucks. Eric beats David on how fucking useless he is to this group.
Okay, useless... Maybe. I think David takes the cake. I will die on this hill. I don't think there will be like the most stupid character in a horror movie will never beat David. Eric is just a prick, and he's the one that uncovers the Necronomicon. That's it.
And he's the one that's like, oh, look, it's wrapped in barbed wire. I should cut it.
I should cut it open. Oh, and there's garbage bag on it? Great. Let me rip that open.
And then we have Jessica over here, not your average white girl.
No. She's a good bean.
She's smart. She has tweezers in her purse.
She is resourceful. She's there for emotional support for everyone in the group.
Her character, girlfriend.
That's it. That's all.
The best part was she was just like, towards like, when she started getting weird, she's like, we should go.
Yeah. She's like,
and then Olivia's like, you should have let us all, she goes to Olivia, she's like, you should have let us all fucking leave. We're now kind of stuck in this because you. And Olivia's like, it's not me. And you and I are just in the corner like, baby, it kind of is.
It kind of was. And yeah, because Jessica is like, we were following your lead this entire time, and you fucked up. It's your fault. Own up to it.
We love Jessica to the fact where I think when it comes to all the Deadites in the movie, she probably has the most memorable Deadite.
Yeah.
That's not Maah. That's not Maah, of course.
Yeah, no, yeah. I think she did a really good job. Should we wait until we get through the movie to get to her stuff? Because I want to get in depth with her.
Yeah.
Okay.
The one thing I will say about her is she is the most Evil Dead Deadite. Like, if you think about, like, traditional Evil Dead Deadites, and even how, like, they shot her and how they lit her, just everything about her screamed traditional first Evil Dead.
I agree. Yeah. We'll talk about that too in the roundup. I want to get into that. But for now, Eric's
Let's talk about the static shot you hate.
Which one?
The shot begins as like an upside down shot of them driving, and you're like, oh, it's so nice. And like 15 seconds later, you're like, I'm over it.
Yeah, it was too long. But Eric's
long.
reading the Necronomicon right now.
Yes,
Out
he's
loud.
reading it. And he's like, and the thing is, the reason why I call him fucking stupid is because the words were scratched out. And he's like, let me take a fucking pencil and some loose leaf and just, scratch it out and then say everything.
Poor Mia's outside. She's walking in circles because she has all this poor energy that she has in her from going through actual withdrawals. So I get it.
She's going to get pneumonia, though.
Yeah, it's raining. Poor girl.
And as this happens, we get our traditional Evil Dead camera shot of going through the forest.
I don't like it. I don't like it.
I understand.
It's too steady.
I do understand. It is.
It's too steady. It's too slow. It needs to be more erratic. The best comparisons would be obviously the original, and the new one that we just watched did a fantastic job.
Which is crazy because you would think like, oh, if this was steady, everything else would be steady. But no, when Maah becomes the main character at the end, the camera shots get very frantic Evil Dead with like her getting everything set up. And like, even when David was getting the heart, like the adrenaline set up, it was very Evil Dead in how it was cutting and it was just like constant cuts. So I don't know why the most iconic shots, because I do think moving through the forest is the proverbial Evil Dead shot outside of, moving the camera and flipping it 360 along the way.
Absolutely.
So I don't know why you made that one so steady when you weren't afraid to get frantic towards the end.
Yeah, I didn't understand it either. I would love to know why the director chose to do it this way, but whatever. So as he's reading the book, the demon is coming, obviously. And my theory is, since her brother gave her this type of necklace, it's kind of like a protection necklace, she vomits, and you think it could be, we don't know, from her withdrawals, or it was the demon kind of bouncing off of it. I don't know. What do you think about it?
Something was weird. It could be either or. But I do think it's kind of ironic that the moment she was alone and, she had thrown the necklace away and she was like fully hopeless, that we'll talk about that scene when we get to it in like 5 minutes. But I can see it being the necklace as well,
Mm-hmm.
because I think it's even more because at the end of the movie, the necklace is back together. She puts it on, and that's how she... Like, when she gets the necklace back, I do think it's kind of funny how, like, the main character is decided by the necklace.
Yeah, that's true. I didn't even think of that.
But one thing I think we forgot to mention, when they go down the stairs and they find a Necronomicon and they find the cats and shit, they also find the shotgun down there.
Oh, yes.
So that gets used a lot.
As it should in an Evil Dead movie.
Yep. So we read the book, and we see which I do think the coolest thing about the doppelgangers in this movie was the doppelgangers were what these characters were going to end up being. Down to the outfits, because when we come back to Mia in like 20 minutes, she's wearing the outfit that like the demon Mia is currently wearing.
Right.
Either way, she sees it, she comes inside, and she's like, I have to leave. Honestly, if I saw that, I'd be like, you know what? Oh no, we were wrong. Something else happens first. You get like a brief like flash of demon Mia, and then she vomits.
Right. Yes.
But it's not white vomit yet.
Not yet. It's normal. I'm not feeling great.
Yes.
Vomit.
And then she's like, I gotta get the fuck out.
You know what? I'd be the same way, and unfortunately, they're not believing her because she's going through what she's going through, and I get it from both sides. You can't really blame anyone here.
True, but I think when someone's that level of frantic, you at least hear them out.
Yeah, the whole thing is, we forgot to mention, Olivia is a registered nurse. So
she's not Kerry Russell.
I feel like she thinks she has a handle on this, and she might if this was a normal situation, because she seems to have a whole kit and everything. That's great, because, you know, this can happen in a normal setting, yada, yada, yada. Things get out of hand, you know.
You know what I hate about David?
Everything?
Yes, I mean, yes. But more specifically, the entire movie, he's like so fucking easy to manipulate.
Yeah, he really is.
And then this is the one scene where he's like, no, we're not going. And I'm like, since when did you fucking grow a pair for 5 seconds during like the most inopportune time?
Yeah, that's really true, because his entire character kind of is very manipulable. Yeah, I didn't even notice that. No wonder that scene felt off to me.
Yeah. Either way, she's like, fuck you. Here's your necklace. Let me break it a little bit. And then she jumps out a window.
Yeah, she skedaddles out of there.
And she gets in the car, that ugly ass car.
Oh yeah, the station wagon.
Yeah. She starts driving, and I love how like she's in the car, and even as she's driving, she's like, this is fucking stupid. Like, what I just did is fucking stupid.
Well, she's not
But I gotta get out of here.
Yeah, she's not in the right mindset. I get it.
And then she crashes.
Not into water. Into swamp.
Into sludge.
Yeah, oof.
I think the best part of that entire scene was how casual she treated the situation. Like, let me grab my purse, wrap it around me.
It's the shock.
I know. Let me get out. And then she gets out, and that's when, like, I think even I mentioned, like, fuck, she's bloody.
Yeah,
like,
and it was a lot deeper than what we were expecting and what she was expecting. So, yeah, that whole scene was, oof, that sucked.
And then she sees Demon Mia in a really cool scene because she crawls out of the water. It looks great. Actress for Mia, great facial acting.
Oh my
You're
God.
gonna hear it like a bunch. More likely in like 5 minutes when she's like peak facial acting.
Yes.
But right now she's crawling, and then Demon Mia comes out of the swamp, and she's all dirty.
Looks fantastic. I didn't even
Looks
notice.
nasty.
Huh?
Looks nasty.
Oh, yes. I didn't even notice the actor in there until they popped out of the sludge, and I was like, ooh, I love it. I love it.
And then she runs. We get... The best way I can put it was, I don't know when movies started using drones, but this was so obviously a drone.
Yeah, I mean, it is 2013, so it could have been the hot new thing going on at that moment. So, yeah, it was very noticeable.
I think it was because the way the camera was, when I remember it correctly, like sometimes, yes, they were at a correct height, but it was really high
Yeah.
for what an Evil Dead shot usually is. She falls into a thorn bush.
And if you've seen the original, you know what's going to happen here.
And cue Paige. Well, okay, first she gets wrapped, and it's very uncomfortable because it goes on a little bit too long, but in a good way.
I get it. Yeah, like, this is horrible. I get it, why we're doing this. But yeah, I was very uncomfortable with this.
And then, well, see, it was uncomfortable, but you were like, I can survive this. Cue Demon Mia. And she's like, let me vomit. And it's like, bleh. And you're like, ooh, vom, that's moving. It's moving.
It's sludgy and black and coming out of her orifice mouth, and oh my god, and it's crawling and it's getting longer.
And it's going up Mia's leg. Oh god, it's happening.
It's happening. It's happening. It's happening. And okay.
It happens.
It happens. Again, I just want to say I never like these scenes. I don't like it in the original. I don't like it. I think it happens in 2. I'm pretty sure it happens in 2. Any other type of movie where they're doing some sort of general, it doesn't matter if it's paranormal or something with vines. I do not like these rape scenes. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. I don't think they're necessary. Here, it's still not necessary.
You could have just put it in her throat.
Or none of these things. What did they do in 2023? The 2023 Evil Dead. What happened? It didn't happen.
I was gonna say, didn't the wire go in her?
I don't think so. If it did, I think it just went up her thigh. It didn't. I don't think it went anywhere else.
But I think because this movie's slightly different, and the only reason why I'll give this movie like a somewhat of a pass is because the whole thing of her birthing the demon is a plot point.
Okay.
That's the only reason why. Listen, if that ending didn't happen where it was the 5 deaths and then the demon gets birthed out and then all that happened, this would have been totally unnecessary. The only reason why I viewed it as, somewhat of an okay in the sense of just making sense is because of the theme it presented.
I'll give you that, but still...
It was still too much.
Oh, yes, very much.
Still too much. You could have presumed, like, you could have stopped with it going up her leg and then we could have, connected the dots where it went.
But no.
But no, they were just like, no. Wide shot, show it going up.
And then everyone finds her, and she's curled up next to a tree,
and I get you. I get
yeah.
And then Olivia's like, she fell into a thorn bush. She probably did it on purpose for attention.
Yeah, and both me and David went, what?
This is where I go. Olivia's the dumb bitch of the group.
Yeah, and Eric was
She's
like
fucking stupid.
Eric at this point, because he read out of the Necronomicon, and he goes and he flips in the book and he sees the type of rape that's happening in the book. He's like, oh yeah, that something's going on, something fucked up.
But I'm not gonna say it yet.
Yeah, until halfway, almost to the end of the movie.
Either way, Mia's in the room. David goes to check on her, and we get facial acting.
This is really good. This is when I started to be very, very impressed with the actress. So David comes in, and she's in the bottom bunk of the bunk bed, curled up, not having a good time. The lighting is very key here. Without lighting, I don't think her accentuated facial acting would work as well as it does. I think she does a fantastic job looking absolutely petrified.
Also, at this point, I think we need to note that Olivia tranked Mia.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, she has tranquilizers with her.
Yeah. This makes sense for what's about to happen in a total of 3 more minutes. So we're out, and we have our little fight between the group. After this conversation, we have a nice... Oh, wait. I don't think that happens yet. I think we leave, and we find Grandpa.
Oh, yeah. David finds Grandpa, a.k.a. the dog. Oh.
And then he pulls the dog out. Dog's dead. He sees the hammer, and then we get like a smash cut of Demon Mia beating the dog with a hammer.
Now, question.
Did David see it?
Yes. This is one of those things. You don't think David saw it?
I don't think so.
Okay, then why did he immediately assume Mia did it?
Because he's a fucking imbecile.
I don't know.
Because he's an imbecile, and she was the only one who was outside of the house, and she's the only one who was sporadic, and he just talked to her, and she was incredibly sporadic.
Okay.
So just jumping to conclusions.
I think we dealt with this situation in a previous film that we watched where we didn't.
It's probably a Hellraiser.
I think you're right. Fuck. Well, anyways, we dealt with this in another movie. I hope to God it's not Hellraiser, but it probably is. Where the flashback.
It was probably like the third or the fourth one at the same time.
I think you're right. Anyways.
Fuck, we're going back.
We're always going to be back. Where we didn't know if the flashbacks were being seen by the character or not. To me, this is what this is happening too. This has also happened. There's a couple other flashbacks, I think maybe 2 more in this movie that happened. There's one that already happened already with the burning when he touched.
So fucking unnecessary.
Yeah. See, I hate that. When we just saw something and then they give us a flashback. I hate that. In a TV show, in a movie, unnecessary. It makes you think that they think their audience is stupid, but whatever.
Yeah, and it's even worse because this movie doesn't treat people like idiots 95% of the time.
Yeah.
Which makes the 5% of the time very apparent.
Yeah, I don't know.
It kind of feels like they had like 3 different people working on the 3 different acts. And then like the third act, which is the best, kind of felt like it was like Sam Raimi was like, I'm gonna take this part.
I have a feeling that there were too many people in the editing room.
Yeah.
I think that's what it was.
So either way, and David's like, Mia, let me in. Let me bang on the door a little bit. And then Mia starts a fire, and Mia gets 2nd to 3rd degree burns.
Correct. She turns the water way, way up and
Yes.
burns her skin. This is where
gross.
You had a visceral reaction to this.
Yeah. I don't. Well, here's the reason why. I had a visceral reaction to it. When I was like 6 or 7, my grandma was making chicken soup, and my kind of like, it's not my forearm, but it's like the midpoint touched the edge of the soup thing. And I don't know why, because my hands have touched since. Maybe it was just like how she was cooking it or like the material, but it touched and it caused my skin to boil. And it bubbled, and I had the scar for like around 12 to 15 years. Like it took a long. I kind of thought that was a lifelong scar because of how long I had it. But I remember seeing it in the moment, like seeing my skin literally bubble and boil. And like as a 7-year-old, that is a core memory.
Yes, it is.
Talk about those. So seeing those burns and seeing the bubbling kind of brings back that reaction that like 7-year-old me would have.
Got it.
So yeah, that was gross to me.
The whole thing was very gross. It was pretty nasty.
You had a gross out of the Mia with the rose bush or the thorn bush. This was my equivalent to that one. It was gross. It was nasty. I had to look away. Unfortunately, the burns never went away when she was in her human form. They were on her arms still at the end of the movie.
Really?
Yep.
Oh, fantastic. I mean, not fantastic, but I like continuity.
Yep. They weren't on her face anymore, but they were on her arms.
Right.
Either way, they're all talking. They're like, fuck you. Fuck you. And they're like, fuck you, Olivia. And I'm like, yeah, fuck you, Olivia.
Yeah, fuck you, Olivia.
I mean, you're easily the most charismatic member of this ensemble outside of Mia currently. Like, listen, out of everyone I've seen, outside the person who played Mia, because she's in Don't Breathe, like she's done well. The actress who played Mia, like, was in a lot of episodes of Gotham. She's in The Resident. Like, you can tell like, the charisma she has in this movie, you can tell, like, yeah, she's probably the one who has the most success outside of Evil Dead. And it shows. And also, I think outside of Mia, she's probably the best actor of the group.
Yeah, I would give that to her too. Mm-hmm.
Either way, Mia comes out. And she has a shotgun. How the fuck she got it, I don't remember, but she got a shotgun.
Yeah, with everyone arguing, I guess they forgot. She was also tranked by Olivia with quote unquote from Olivia saying that she gave her enough to knock out a horse. So this isn't good. The twitching is pretty normal. With the body, the Deadite getting used to the human body. That's pretty normal across all Evil Dead movies, so that was good to see.
And then Mia screams, and as she screams, you hear the demon voice kind of resonate throughout the room. And then we get, which I would probably say is, I don't think it's the most iconic line of Evil Dead, but "You're all gonna die tonight" is it's top 3 at least of iconic Evil Dead lines. And then you're like, great, and shit's happened.
And Mia passes out after the wind goes through the whole house and all that.
Not yet. First, we shoot Dipshit in the arm.
Yeah, Dipshit being David, by the way. There's a lot of dipshits, so we had to be specific.
He's the king of the dipshits.
That's true.
He goes past the himbo meter.
Oh, he does not get the honorary title of himbo. Please.
He's just a fucking dumbass. Either way, he gets shot in the arm, and Jessica is like, I got tweezers in my purse. Get my purse.
I'll get this bullet out for you, baby.
So while that's happening, they put Mia in the cellar because she gets shot into the cellar.
No. She pukes on Olivia. Olivia
right.
flips and kicks her down into the cellar. And they lock her
Olivia,
down.
I like how Olivia gets vomited on me like Deadite. She's
immediately and Deadite.
She got tomato souped. And it was chunky.
All that tomato sauce right there. Icky, icky, icky.
I will say though, like Evil Dead Rise, it kind of felt like it took a while for effects to take in. This was instantaneous.
Yeah. I do like both. I think both movies do it very well. Because this one had a very slow beginning and then boom, we get it, you know. And then the other one was kind of a pretty rapid buildup, which is what I like. So it really depends on what your cup of tea is for horror movies.
But I also felt like with this movie, the reason why it was so much quicker was because of how intimate and close their relation, like in like how close they were to the actual like the head Deadite.
Yes.
With I forgot her character in the last movie. I'm so sorry.
The main character?
The main Deadite of the last movie.
Yeah, we'll go with that. Go ahead.
She was separated from them. There was like this very well-known barrier that was the door, and it was barricaded, and she was on one side and they were on the other. In this one, it's like she's in the cellar, but it's very, what you learn like in a few minutes, she can break out whenever she wants.
Right.
So it kind of shows how close in proximity they are. Maybe that's what controls how quickly you can turn them. Either way, David's like, she's banging on something down there. Can you tranquilize her more, Olivia?
I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? If I was Olivia, I'd be like, you do it yourself. Here's the shot, you fuck.
I have a bullet in my arm, and I need my girlfriend to take it out for me.
With the little baby tweezers.
From her purse. And sooner or later, maybe I'll ask her to make me some sugar water.
So Olivia goes to the bathroom to get the trank shot.
Fuck. I love it's like, trank. The glass shuts, and I'm like, oh god. My fear isn't that the glass is going to shut and it's something that's going to be there. I know something's going to be there. It's just what the fuck is going to be there.
It looks so good. It looks so good. So she gets the medicine cabinet. The medicine cabinet kind of closes, by itself, and in the mirror we see Deadite Olivia. Looks amazing. So
and then they cut
creepy.
to the book. And the book scared me more because the book had her face torn off.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that was the fear. I'm like, oh God, it's all coming off.
Yeah.
And that's one thing is, if there's an unrated cut, I bet you any amount of money, her face isn't there.
Yeah, that's very possible. We're taking little bets here and there while this was happening. Once we saw what was on the Necronomicon page, I thought she was gonna rip her face off with a needle because she had the big, needle in there. It turned out to be the glass.
Yep. And you heard it in your ears.
Okay,
it
so
was built up.
We're both wearing headphones, right, while we're recording and watching the movies. It's a mistake. I don't recommend watching a horror movie like this ever. Don't do it.
Scream is fine.
What's that?
Scream was fine.
That's fine.
Scream's very,
That's fine.
1, 2, 3.
But rule of thumb, don't do it. We heard squishy squashies and rippy rippies, and I hated it.
And then Eric comes in. I'm like, yes, kill him.
Please.
And no, this dude just gets the shit beat out of him for the next 40 minutes. I'm like, you could have killed him right now, and I would have been happier.
It was bad. So there's a really good shot in here. Again, another really good shot. I know I missed a few.
Yeah.
But Eric comes in. It's really dark in here. He tries to turn the light on, but there's blood dripping, and it gets in the light bulb. And so the light bulb's kind of flickering and not working. It's gross. It's great. And then
Olivia turns around.
Yeah, he gets right up in there. The light's really, really good here. And we get a down shot down to Olivia, and her face is coming off. She's cutting it off with the glass. It is disgusting.
Is it weird for me to say that this was probably the least disgusted I was in this movie? I was just more impressed by how good it looked that I kind of was able to get past my disgust of it.
I agree. I think the noise was worse than what I actually saw.
The visual was actually... I don't know. It didn't get to me. This was the only one that didn't get to me.
It was gross. It was bad. Yeah. He slips on her face, skin.
Yeah, he does.
He fucks up his back on the toilet. I'm like, oh, buddy, I felt that.
I think we both had an audible, oh,
yeah.
God, that sucks.
She stabs him with glass. Real bad. And then takes the needle.
That's tame. That's the tame part. What happens next is worse. You can go through it. I'm not sorry.
Yeah, no problem. She takes the needle, which I have a very big fear of, needles, and goes to fucking town on Eric. She just stabs him all up in the face. I'm like, oh my God, not his eye. Goes right into his eye multiple times when he has glasses on, by the way. What else happens? I don't know. It's kind of a blur.
Did you look away when he pulled the needle out of his eye, underneath his eye?
Yeah.
So the needle never actually went into the eye. They were usually like kind of really around his eyeballs. But if you can kind of feel like there's like a little bit of like flab on your skin underneath your eye.
Shut up.
Basically, the needle itself gets stuck there.
Shut up.
And they do a close-up of him pulling it out.
Stop it.
Once he kills her with the... No, he doesn't kill her yet, but something happens, yada, 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 with the sink, I guess, because somehow he has to get the porcelain to get to the next bit.
Right.
She crawls. It's gross. He beats her in the head with...
She looks so good. I don't know if you saw in her skin, though, the veins.
Yeah.
Oh, it looks so good.
She's... she dies, which I'm like, you know what? Hey, you have TV shows to film. I can tell.
I get it.
And then they come in, and they're like, what the fuck? And he's like, she tried to kill me.
It's an unfortunate...
You should believe me. I'm Eric. And then they go to the shed. I will say, this shed gets so much use in this movie.
It does. You're right.
It gets so much use. They go to the shed, and he's like, I think I fucked up.
It's like, yeah, Eric, you did.
Wow, Eric. You are really trying to compete with David for the biggest dumbass in this group, aren't you?
We're only like 45 to an hour into the movie, and you're finally saying, yeah, I fucked up. Okay.
Great, fantastic. And then they tape him up. Quite literally tape him up.
Yeah, they take the glass out. We're like, don't do it. They do it. Blood spurting out. They duct tape it closed. It's a fucking mess.
And then fucking dipshit David is like, Jessica, I need sugar water.
He needs sugar
water. Can you get it for me?
She's like, I guess.
Sure.
Jessica's a trooper.
that up until the end of the movie, the Deadeye Club was all chick, no dick.
Yes. Ugh.
Loved
Love
it.
it.
And then guess who had to come up and fuck it up? Eric. Fuck that dude. Fucking hate Eric.
Anyway, she's going to get sugar water. This is a horrible situation. She hears Olivia. Then she's like, oh, fuck. Then she hears Mia because the cellar's out. Like, the cellar's open. Mia's sounding normal. What else happens?
Well, she gets locked in first. The door shuts.
Oh, yeah.
So she can't get out. And then she looks down and Mia's like, you guys locked me down here, which they did. It is a valid criticism. And Jessica's like, baby, listen, we did do that. But you were acting irrational and you were kind of slamming people against the wall.
You were being violent.
I don't think we could have let you be up there at that time. You
We
kind of
had
needed your
to do
own
it.
space. We gave you space. And Mia's like, psych.
Nom, 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 nom.
Let's go. And then Jessica's like, fuck, I fell for it. And I'm like, you were too smart for this, Jessica.
But you know what I liked? I know. Okay, so she's going down the cellar, right? Jessica's going down the cellar. And Mia sounds normal. She's sitting and facing the darkness. Okay, whatever. That's a little weird. So as Jessica's going down there, Mia's voice starts to change. And then Jessica's like, oh, no. So she tries to go back up. And I'm like, you know
I'm
what?
5 steps down.
Yeah.
Shit.
So.
And then she falls on the rickety step. Oh, no, she doesn't fall. She falls through it.
Yeah.
And then the door is shut and we get the grossest scene in this fucking movie.
Okay, hold on.
Okay.
Hold on. I need to prepare
Let's
myself.
prepare.
Okay.
I'll build up to it so we just get there.
One, the lighting is so fucking good in this shot.
It's
in
great.
this entire shot. It's so fucking good.
And Mia
2,
crawls up.
there's a box cutter.
And a tongue.
It's horrible.
We'll get to that point in a moment. Either way, Jessica wakes up and Mia's like, I want to lick your body.
I don't know. I don't know. So I was looking over at your camera, and I was like, "Oh, are they gonna do this?" Oh.
I'm like watching it like, okay, how close? How close are we getting?
I hated it.
Because how close this camera is, I can't tell. Either way.
It's terrible.
And then Jessica's like, box cutter. And Mia's like,
I can get into this.
hot. Let's do it. Split it open. She's like, watch what I can do with my tongue. And it splits, and it's so visceral.
It's so
It's
bad.
so gross.
It's so bad. It's good.
And then both tongues have a mind of their own, so they're like going up and down.
I wasn't
Like,
even
oh,
looking. I'm gonna be
God.
honest.
It was so fucking gross.
I hate it. I'm sweating right now because I'm thinking about it. It was disgusting.
So bad. It was so fucking
And
bad.
then dumbass David comes and saves the day. He does one good thing.
Well, she bites. She bites Mia.
Oh, yeah.
She bites Jessica.
She bites Jessica's hand, which is from the first movie as well, by the way.
And then, David dipshit. You know what? What is it? Like, I thought, I'm going to say right now, you had to beat Dewey.
Yeah.
You had to beat Dewey. Dewey dipshit's a nickname.
Yeah.
Deputy dipshit. You had to beat Deputy dipshit. And you did it. Passing colors. Either way, he comes to save Jessica. And Mia's like, let me suck your dick, pretty boy.
Yeah, we both
And
giggled.
I'm like, we both giggled. And but in my head, I was like, oh, that's so fucked up. That's your sister.
The Deadeye don't give a shit.
I know, but I think in his head, he's like, what the fuck? And then they lock him in. They do the chain. We get, okay, this is the moment. And scene. From whoever the fuck was directing this beforehand and Sam Raimi. Because this is the moment where they lock her in the cellar and you get the shots of him nailing it down, doing the chains, all that stuff. We've officially become an Evil Dead movie.
Correct.
According to camera, we've become an Evil Dead movie.
But see, I was liking the cinematography before this.
I just think it got way better at this point.
I'm not saying it didn't get better, but I'm saying it wasn't bad. It just wasn't an Evil Dead movie. It was definitely a horror movie and being done very well,
Yes.
especially with lighting, which is very key when you're filming. But you're right. It does now feel like an Evil Dead movie, and we're in the third. I would say getting to the third act.
I would say third act happens the minute Jessica dies in like 3 more
Right,
minutes.
getting to the third act. Yeah.
Yeah. So we get our nice, and I think it's because it's the rapid cuts, it's the weird camera angles, it's very high, it's like very close up with the nails and everything. Either way,
The boys are doing something? I don't fucking know.
well, yeah, because this is the point where Eric's like, we gotta kill her. Like she has to be the one that dies, and we kill her either through burying alive, dismembering the body, or burning alive. Those are like our 3 options. And I do like that when they said dismember the body, I think you hear Bruce Campbell.
I think you do too.
I think you hear Ash from the first movie.
You hear it for all 3 forms of killing the Deadites. Yes.
Yes. Except I think the burning one is the old lady at the beginning of the movie.
Yeah.
And then David's like, "But that's my sister.
I can't
and I love her." And Eric's like, "Shut up, bitch boy."
He literally laughs in his face and says, "You're a fucking coward. You're a little bitch."
You ain't wrong.
He ain't wrong.
You ain't wrong.
He's over this shit.
And we're leaving. He's like, "Fine, I'll do it myself." Nail gun. Oh, we skipped. Sorry, we skipped. I apologize. This is me. This is me. This is my issue. As they're having this discussion,
Jessica's
in
having
another
her
room,
own thing going on.
Jessica's having a character moment.
I fucking love this bitch. Okay.
I think even the writers knew, like, fuck, we wrote her too good. We have to at least give her a good moment.
It's so true. So she's dealing with the one of the most iconic Evil Dead things, right? So in the first one,
Possessed hand.
yeah, and the first one, Ash, I believe he does get bit as well, and his hand starts to turn into a Deadite hand, and it's uncontrollable. Here, Jessica's having the icky moment where she's spewing things out of her hand. It's fucking
God, don't bring
gnarly.
that up.
I couldn't watch it.
You couldn't watch it. I barely could. I was like, if she's not, I have to.
Oh my god.
But you made it almost to the end because you went, "Tell me when it stops," and you literally said that right when it stopped.
Thank God. I'm a big girl here. And she gets her Ash moment, which I thought was going to be the only Ash moment in the movie.
And so earlier in this movie,
Oh yeah.
we had an electric meat carver cutting some nasty ass roast beef.
That
That
was-
was not good.
It was not. It was like a week and a half overdue.
It was like maybe a couple more days from being sent to a Subway. It was missing the holographic effect. And the worst thing is they're cutting it, and the roast beef, you could tell the foreshadowing because the roast beef was so bloody.
It was.
And they were cutting the roast beef like, oh god, no, because I know this is gonna get used on a human later, and it's gonna get worse.
Jessica was carving it, which is obvious. So, she cuts off her own fucking arm the whole time. By the way, she's sitting in the kitchen, right, and she's facing the cellar door,
Mia.
and Mia's like, Don't do it, don't cut it off, don't do it, no, and she says, "Fuck you, bitch," and does it, and I'm like,
Also, the effect on her arm, like the practical effects on the arm, of Jessica.
Amazing.
Yeah, it was really good.
It really was.
And then, so remember, like earlier in the episode, I mentioned what happens in a few more minutes where where Jessica gets gets special effects and how it looks bad. Well, the reason why it looks bad is as she cuts off her arm, it's all practical.
Oh yeah.
And it's gnarly. It's gruesome. She short circuits the house.
Yep.
And you were able to tell it before I did that the arm didn't come off clean.
No,
it was
because
still.
the power went out before she can get it all off. Oh.
And they leave the room. This is what makes, the dicks leave the room. And they go to check on the final chick. And she's like, you see it's just so much blood.
She turns
on the
around
floor.
from the fridge too.
Yeah, she turns around from the fridge and she just goes, I feel so much better now.
And then her arm gloops off. Just
Gloops. You know what's the grossest thing? Like the saddest thing? This isn't the most disgusting dismemberment of a body
It really
in
isn't.
this movie. You're like, wow, you can't top this. And they're like, oh, wait around 30 more minutes. Watch when it's not their choice.
Yeah.
Either way, they take her and he's like, don't worry. I have duct tape.
Duct tape fixes
I
everything.
can tape it together.
And then dumbass David's like, everything's gonna be okay. Eric's like, she cut off her fucking arm.
Fucking arm.
It's
Your
not okay.
sister's in the basement making weird ass noises. My favorite part, though, I will acknowledge, when she does the cutting of the arm and it explodes and they cut to the Maah Deadite laughing, like just going at
It's
it.
so good.
Either way, it's too late. And I firmly believe that Jessica died when he tried to duct tape her because she goes very stiff.
Yeah, and she's really, really pale, obviously. Yeah, I think she dies here. You're right.
Yeah.
When they leave
And
the
also,
room, she's dead.
You do not lose that much blood.
And
In all honesty, I think she may have been a Deadite before.
you think so?
That was so much blood.
I don't know, because when she said it,
So much blood.
when she said I feel better, I think that was her. So
Also, I just want to go to something that's a little bit earlier in the movie, real quick. Earlier in the movie where Maah gets burned, finally they're like, you know what? Yeah, take her. You should probably take her. And we see Maah lose her body because she vomits white.
yeah.
The only reason why I can believe you that Jessica hasn't converted was because there was not white vomit on the floor. And that's the tell for me.
Yes.
Also, one of the best subtle scenes in the movie is where the road is flooded and it cuts back to Maah and there's like that little grin
Yes.
that forms and then it cuts.
It's great. The
Great
acting is actually pretty fucking good with the girls here. I do.
Outside
have
of
to admit.
David,
Yeah.
David's actor could not act. I'm
No.
sorry. He was awful.
Yeah, he really was.
Do you know like when you go to a stage play and you tell like someone's force acting and they're like, why did you do that?
Yeah, you're right.
You're at an 11, I need you at like a 4. Just bring it down. And I'll say, the one thing with Eric's actor, yes, I hate Eric, the character, but Eric's actor actually did it well. It
Yeah.
was just the guy who played David was unlikable as the actor and unlikable as the character.
Yeah, he's a sore thumb for sure.
Yeah. And it's even worse that he's like the secondary main character because Mia's like, here, let me give you the fucking necklace and not Jessica.
Yeah.
Either way, he's like, I'm going to go and do it. Eric, that's Eric. And a nail gun. And we get the best Deadite of this entire movie. Maah was great. Mia's fine. But holy shit, Jessica.
So, to me, a Deadite is very specific, right? It's not a zombie. It's not necessarily a demon in the sense. It's a beautiful mix of both. And with this movie, I don't feel like they were Deadites ever.
I feel like Jessica was a Deadite.
Yes.
Yeah.
But in this moment, later on, I think we see her again. I didn't feel it.
Did she come back?
I think we do see her one more time. If not,
Okay.
I'm not.
Because
Sure.
I remember we thought it was like Jessica, then it was just Eric.
Oh, then maybe I'm wrong. Okay. They felt like they were from The Exorcist.
Yeah.
That's not a criticism. I think the makeup looks really good. It's good acting, but it's not Evil Dead Deadites. But you're right. If there was one that was a Deadite, it was definitely Jessica here.
But I also think it's in the practical effects that they give you. And so basically, you hear the nail guns go off, and she's nailed herself in the face a few times. And the way they accentuated her bones, like the bone structure of her face, it was like, that's the most Deadite because they always contort the face in some way, shape, or form that's not just contacts.
Absolutely.
And I also really like with Jessica, Natalie, which I think was the reason why I gave this one more of a, yes, this is a Deadite. She doesn't walk, she floats, basically. It's all just kind of floating. She's very stiff. Her entire character is just, until she comes back at the end, she's so stiff.
It's great.
She shoots Eric in the arm. She shoots David in the leg.
Yeah, they get fucked up.
They do. And they get, she gets the close-up on her face. Her face is kind of crooked. It's great camera work. Everything's great. And then she's like, you know what I found? Thing. A crowbar. Let me beat you with it real quick. She beats David, and then she gets shot. It does. It's a crowbar.
Yeah.
There's only so many ways you can make a crowbar not look real.
Yeah.
And then Eric shoots her, and she's like...
With the nail gun. You gotta be specific
with the nail
right
gun.
Here. Yeah.
And she's like, I'm gonna fuck him up.
And she does.
And
really bad.
And she's one shot away from killing him, and then David shoots her arm off.
Real quick.
With the shotgun.
Real quick. His head wounds look very painful.
Gnarly.
Very real. And when he holds his hand up, and then the crowbar hits it, and then we see the results on his hand, I hated it in a good way. But yeah, now
and he pulls it out.
Yeah. Now David shoots her, and she has no arms. And this is where the
best part
CGI is.
Yeah, because the blood's dripping. It's very obviously fake blood.
Yeah.
Best way I can put it. But my best part of this is I will probably say this is where Jessica comes back at the end.
You think so?
It's not like, well, yes, because she dies. First of all, the character dies. But also the way she dies. Because usually it's like, you're like, why'd you shoot my arms off? Why'd you do that? And do you remember what Jessica's final words were?
Why does my face hurt?
Yes, why does my face hurt? And I'm like, that's such a specific... Because that was the only thing the Deadite did to her. That was, like, the Deadite doing it to her.
And she probably doesn't remember that.
Yep. So the fact of, like, her just keep asking, why does my face hurt? My face hurts. I'm like, oh, I feel... It's also because Jessica was a good, fun, likable character.
Yeah, she really was. It sucks.
I kept rooting for her to come back and kill David at the end.
Same.
I was like, kill them both.
Please.
Kill 'em. I believe in you, girl. So she's dead. Before this, Eric mentioned that, like, 5 people have to get killed.
Really?
Yeah, because to summon the abomination, to give birth to it. 5 souls.
I was not paying attention.
So we are at 1, 2... 1, 2... Are we? I think we're only at 2.
We're at 3. Does the dog count?
The dog could count.
The dog could count. Because Mia, everyone dies except David.
True, but when did that make... But the thing is, the abomination doesn't come...
Until Mia dies.
Until David dies. Because once David dies, that's when the blood rain starts.
Oh, you're right. Okay. Never mind then.
Grandpa was just kind of...
An appetizer.
Yeah. Also, it's just Grandpa couldn't make it through the rest of this movie, and they were like, let's just kind of get him out of here now. Either way, David's like, I can do what I must now. Sure you can. Ugh. The thing is, this just becomes David and the Eric show for like the next 15 minutes.
Yeah, we can kind of breeze through this. He tranks Mia. I don't remember how he does it. It doesn't really matter. He puts her in a red dress for whatever fucking creepy reason that was.
Well, first he tries to burn the place down.
Oh yeah.
And then Mia sings the song, and he's like, "That's my sister. I'll open the cell door, I guess." And like, yeah, it's not your fucking sister, dude. So then he goes down there, and they fight.
Oh, yeah.
And he just gets thrown across the wall.
He gets thrown around a lot. I forgot.
Oh, it's a great scene.
Yeah,
it's
I forgot
fantastic.
about this.
And then he starts to get drowned, and then Eric is like, I hit her, and I guess she stabbed him or something.
This was the most unbelievable thing ever.
This just had the shit beat out of him for the last like hour.
This guy gets the worst end of everything. He gets so fucked up that somehow he comes down these rickety steps after not being able to walk, and he hits the Deadite with a crowbar. I could not believe it. It was impossible.
And then he dies.
Yeah, and then he dies because the box cutter goes into his tummy.
Yep. And now he's died. And David's like, now I can do what I must.
And then he tranks her, and then he dresses her in a red dress for whatever fucking creepy
This
reason.
was so weird.
And then he puts a plastic bag over her head, and then...
So, we missed one thing first.
God.
It's him building all the stuff with the very Evil Dead shots. Of him, like, pulling the tools out, close up on the tools, da-da-da-da-da. It was very nice to look at.
It really was, but I couldn't get into it because it's dipshit David.
I know. And then he dresses her up. You know what's really weird is when I saw her dressed up in the dress, I was like, do you remember, like, I think it was like the Red Queen, or like it was the little girl AI from the Resident Evil movies, like the computer girl. I was like, why is this the aesthetic we're going with? They put a bag over her, and we get, when you said The Exorcist before, the kind of melting of the two faces underneath the plastic bag was a very Reagan moment.
Absolutely.
Very Reagan.
Yeah, I think that's probably why I loved it.
Yeah, it was a great scene.
Yeah.
It was very scary.
Yeah,
it was very scary.
It was.
And he starts burying her, and we're like, oh, also, I think we have to note one thing. Before, when he first decided, I'm going to do this, a lightning came down and set a tree on fire.
Right.
outside.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
It's very forgettable until it's like
Until
used
it goes
for
away.
some sort of like hyperbole. It's like, see, this is the reference. You get it?
It's really in your face.
Do you want a flashback to when it got hit? What if the unrated cut is just flashbacks?
No. I'd still hate it.
Either way, it's just bury, and then Mia's like,
Confliction,
"Why are you doing this to
confliction."
me?" And he's like, "You're not my sister." And then he he buries her, and she dies because the flame goes out. And he's like, "I can unbury her, and I'm gonna use this car battery, adrenaline needle thing."
And it doesn't work,
It,
supposedly.
it quote unquote doesn't work. Also, can we talk about the fucking overdramatic score in this moment?
I want to talk about the entire score. I did not like it. I do
It
not
sucked.
like it.
Except the only part of the score that was good was when it went Evil Dead, and you got like the really loud like, ah! That was it.
That's
that was
it.
all
I
that was
agree.
good about this movie.
The rest of it was shit. So
It was Hollywood.
there was a point, especially with the scenes coming up, where we had a fire siren. Did you hear that? Why? It was
This
distracting.
score right here, where she gets brought back to life, is one of this may be beat out like all the Hellraiser movies for like some of the worst shit I've heard.
It's so true.
I think the problem with this movie is, like, with Evil Dead Rise, the highs were high, but the lows were also pretty high.
Yeah.
The highs are high in this movie, and I would say some of the times they beat Evil Dead Rise in the high, which is, it's like artistic direction, especially when we get to the fire, like the final fight, like that artistic direction is immaculate. But holy fuck, the lows are really bad.
Yeah, it's very noticeable.
Either way, she comes back to life. Somehow she comes back to life like so quick too.
So I feel like you're supposed to think, which I thought, that she still
was
had
Deadite?
the Deadite in her, and
Yep.
he turns around, she's literally standing there, normal, totally fine, a little shaken up, but that's it. I was like, oh no, Deadite.
Bite her face. Bite his face off. Bite his face off. Bite his face off. Bite it. Bite it. Kill him.
But that doesn't.
I'm okay
happen.
with everyone in this cabin dying.
Yeah,
At this
same.
point. He goes back inside. He's like, I'm going to go get the keys and we're going to get the fuck out of here. And then he takes a picture and he looks at it and then he gets stabbed in the neck by Deadite Eric.
Yeah.
It's so blink and you miss it.
Yeah, I mean, that's fine. And then I don't know how I feel about Deadeye Eric. He literally just stands there. That's it. You know, it's kind of boring.
Yep. And then
I would have liked his I don't mean to cut you off, but his character does a lot of like laughing.
yep.
I think it would have been great if he had some sort of Deadite laugh going on right now. If he's just standing there, but you know.
I can get that, but also I think they were just like, listen, we got to get to like the final 10 minutes.
That's true. That's true.
So let's have him stumble and be like, Mia, the necklace. This is for you now. Main character.
Go. Here's the keys. Go.
And then he's like, here's my shotgun. Explosion.
Boom.
However, I will say his death brings the most beautiful artistic part of this movie where
Yeah.
the cabin's on fire and, you know.
Mia's there in the center.
Yep. And she's like in the red dress and everything's about to get very red.
Yes.
And we get, you know, she gets her necklace back. You get, which is like probably a really cool shot. I acknowledge the raindrop falling in the hole of the necklace. And then the blood rain starts coming down, and it is time to be baptized.
And it's time to have the iconic reaching up from the dirt scene from Evil Dead. And now we got the abomination. Here we go.
She is officially baptized in blood.
Yep.
Officially becoming bad bitch.
Bad bitch, final girl. This is her now.
And I will tell you, usually we make the joke like, oh, you know, she's the bad bitch. This chick is like, Mia's about to fucking rip her hand off. I don't know of a badder bitch thing
Honest
than
to
ripping
God.
your hand off.
Yeah.
We'll get to that. Either way, Abomination comes out, and we have the actress doing two characters. That's Mia.
It has to be a double. For most of
The
it.
face is very Mia, though.
Yeah.
Like, on the close-ups.
Yeah.
Yeah. And as this is going, the house is on fire, blood rain is coming down.
Beautiful shot. The
Beautiful
hand is
shot.
coming up from the ground. We're doing great shit right here. This is good. This is good.
We had a jump scare that, like, I think it got you a little bit.
Probably. I'm easy with jump scares.
And then she's, like, crawling in the hole, and she's, like, covered in blood.
She the claustrophobia that comes in when she's in the hole, too, is pretty good. The camera shots are really good. Her face acting, doing great face acting. She gets in there. She's about to go for the machete. She looks up. Chainsaw. Oh, yeah. Here we go. Takes the chainsaw. No gas. No problem.
Can we talk about how smooth this next part is, though?
Yeah. Oh, it's awesome. She hits the behind her the shelf. Boom. Here comes the gas. Got it. Glug
That was
glug
so
glug.
smooth.
It's great.
Unfortunately, she's not super smooth, and she loses the cap.
Yeah. Well, what are you gonna do?
And then the Abomination's like, let me kill you or some shit.
Yeah.
So she crawls. Okay. I did not think this was going to be as gross as I thought it would be. Like, I didn't think my reaction would be what it is.
Me neither.
But it got me.
It got me too.
We get a very stereotypical slasher movie scene where she's in between the wall and the Abomination's like stabbing through it. But this time it like gets parts of her. So like it gets her leg,
Her kneecap.
but it gets but it gets the top of it. But so it doesn't go in, but you kind of have to watch it slit its way out.
I don't want to talk
And
about
it's slow.
Oh, it's horrible.
And unlike what happens with her arm, where her arm, it's gross, but it's kind of covered in cloth like, from the dress. So you're like, ew. This is all skin. Yeah. So you're kind of seeing the skin move. Like,
it's bad.
It's gross. However, the Abomination's a dumb bitch.
Oh, she also...
And gives Mia a way out.
Yeah, and while she gets a way out, she also gets her in the arm really bad, too.
Yep.
Oh, that looked bad. She gets out. She takes the chainsaw. She goes around
Underneath
the
the
car. It's still raining blood, by the way. This is great. This is great shit right here. She gets under... This is a really good shot, too. She gets under the Jeep. There's a great shot where we get a profile of her whole body. And she has the chainsaw between her legs, and she's pulling it. I don't know. It was a really cool shot. Kind of reclaiming herself in a way. You know, from
And then
to me, she's reclaiming herself from the Vine scene, which was pretty cool. And we get it.
Here we go.
Here we go.
Here we go. She starts to crawl out, and the Abomination's like, I'm super strong. Flip the car.
Oh, she cuts the Abomination's legs off first.
Correct.
Yeah.
And you think she gets out. Like, it does a good job subverting expectations, because in your head you're like, well, yeah, like, she's main character. She doesn't get crushed by a car. But her hand does.
So I thought Jessica was going to be the Evil Dead Bruce Campbell moment of cutting your arm off, right? Because that's what happens. It's a rite of passage. We get a second one. I was not expecting that.
There was one good shot of seeing the hand through the car window.
Ooh, yeah. Ooh,
Love
yeah.
that shot.
Oh, God.
And she starts pulling, and it's not going to come off.
And she's freaking the fuck out, too.
Yeah. And you see the Abomination, and the Abomination calls her a crackhead.
Yeah, she's like, you're just a pathetic junkie or something like that.
Yeah.
And then Mia's like, she literally is like, I'm done with this shit. And
I'm above that.
She pulls and pulls and pulls and pulls.
And her hand does not want to come off. That's the best way I can put it. And it's so long.
It's so long.
So long.
I'm
and
getting
static,
goosebumps.
and it sits, and it's juicy and meaty in all the wrong ways. It was so gross, but it looked so good.
It really did. It really, really did.
And you're just like, get it, girl.
Yes.
Get it. Get that chainsaw. You've earned it. At this point, you've earned the chainsaw.
Yes, yes.
You've ripped your hand off.
Yeah.
And she rips it off. Thank God it's over. And she picks up the chainsaw. She starts it up, and then she puts her handless arm in the grip of the chainsaw, and she puts it in the Abomination's face. And it is this shot.
It was beautiful, but I was waiting for it because it's Evil Dead. She has to have her line. I was like, say it, girl, say your line. And
Say it.
She does, and it's great. And she goes to town.
And as this is happening, you have the shot of her, you have the shot of the Abomination, you have the shot of the fire in the background. Just the house is now just getting more engulfed in flames.
Beautiful profile shots here.
Blood is, and the thing is, no matter what shot you're in, blood is spilling.
Oh, yeah.
Out of the Abomination. It's in her face, everywhere. And she splits that thing in half. Like, not like, it's not like, kind of in half. No, she splits it in half.
Yeah. The skulls, the faces lay flat opposite sides. It's disgusting.
It's disgusting.
And they blink.
They blink, and it seeps back into the ground.
Yes. And when it starts to seep back into the ground, it looks like from the rain droplets. I don't know if it's the rain droplets or if it's supposed to actually look like the blood
bubbling.
is boiling.
Yep.
Going to hell, which is pretty cool.
And then she just walks up to the house. She's like, I'm going to put my necklace on now.
Yep.
I've earned this. And then she walks away. And I'm like, you know what, girl? Yeah.
Yep.
You know what?
Yep.
Do that, girl. Walk away. Because all the cars are broken. So you're kind of
That's it.
kind of fucked.
And that's the movie. The last 10 seconds, we see Bruce saying groovy, and that's it.
Bruce was right. That movie was groovy. Oof.
Yeah, so that's the movie. Let's take a small break, and we'll come back for our movie roundup. Okay, time for the movie roundup. I think we've said enough, honestly. I really like this movie. Lighting, cinematography, acting is pretty solid across the board for the most part. Practical effects takes the fucking cake. It is an Evil Dead movie. Definitely a different interpretation, but not too different where it doesn't feel like it belongs in its universe. So that was good. Just overall, it's a pretty solid movie for me. I'm gonna say it's a 7 out of 10?
So I'm conflicted, especially how I can feel about this movie, because like I said, the highs are highs, but the lows are just, they're very low.
Distracting.
That's the issue, is that they're just incredibly distracting. And it's kind of like that thing of, I liked it, and I kind of feel like it is between a 6 and a 7. But like, it can't get above a 7 for some reason in my
I
head.
agree, yeah.
But it's like, I think you're right. It probably does fit a 7 because, you know, like when you watch a movie or you play a game or you do anything and you're like, this, if you had to create a criteria for what each rating is, like in the grand scheme of things, and you're like, this is the most 8 out of something, like 8 out of 10 ever. It's like, it sometimes it can be seen as a little bit of an insult because you're like, it fulfills what an 8 out of 10 needs to fulfill, but it does not try to do anything else. And I kind of feel like how this movie is with like a 7 out of 10. Like it fulfills what a 7 out of 10 movie needs to fulfill. It doesn't fulfill anything less, but it does not do anything more either.
I think that's a perfect description. With the distracting lows, yes, I think that's what takes away from it. But I was debating it in my head when we took a break a little bit. I was like, can I rate this lower than a 7? I'm like, no, that really does it a disservice because I thoroughly enjoyed it. It was very gruesome, very disgusting, which is something I'm not really used to. Or not used to, but I don't like it very much. But it was... I had an enjoyable time overall, but it wasn't great. So like you said, I think it's a perfect 7 out of 10.
I think the difference between this and Evil Dead Rise is I want to watch Evil Dead Rise again.
Yeah.
I really don't have like a desire to watch this again.
Yeah, same. I don't think I ever need to watch this again.
Yeah. I think, and that's why I can't rate it that high.
Same.
As like Evil Dead Rise. Evil Dead Rise, I'm like, yeah, I'm in.
Let's go.
I'll watch it again. It's fun.
Yeah.
This movie, I'll watch the cliff notes of it again. I'll watch the final fight again. The final fight's a fun time. But, you know, it's like the cold open. I think that's the issue. Is the cold open really doesn't need to be in this movie. It's not required.
I legitimately forgot about it.
Yeah, it's quite literally the cold open to this episode. Like I said, episode is because it feels like an X-Files.
Yeah, you're
cold
right.
Open.
Holy shit. Which is not an insult to X-Files, but it's not an Evil Dead movie.
I was going to say, it's great for X-Files, but X-Files is also a Monster of the Week episodic TV show. This is a theatrical movie release, and it basically has the opening of a Monster of the Week TV show.
Absolutely.
That does not get its budget.
Right.
But besides that, I did like the movie. I like the cast outside of David. I hate David. I hate Eric. We love Jessica. We love Mia. Olivia, unfortunately, someone had to be the first death.
Yeah.
I kind of wish it was Eric
Same.
first. I feel like if we got Olivia a little bit longer, I would have liked her more, but she was literally there to serve as the first death.
Yeah, and I wish she kind of came back as a Deadite, but honest to God, it probably was a scheduling issue. I'm gonna be honest.
But yeah, that's what I rate it.
Yeah.
You know. But is that it?
That's
it. Does that do it?
Yeah,
Oh
I mean, we
God.
talked a long time during the movie, so I think this was just a pretty basic summary. So yeah, thanks for listening / watching. We are Movie and a Haunt on Spotify. We are Movie and a Haunt on YouTube. Thank you for joining us. Like, subscribe, rate, whatever the fuck you guys do on these things. I don't know anymore. And that will do it, right?
Yes, that will. For our next episode, it will be quite literally what we're feeling. There is no like set plan. This one's more of a how actually we just feel.
Yeah, it will be a horror movie. I guarantee that.
It will be Barbie.
Fantastic. All right, guys. Well, thanks again for joining us, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.